Uj, everyone, peace and blessings. And today is August 19, 2022, Friday. And dua for joining me, Seba Dja, with the sunrise meditation, Aset, Heartfelt breathing, Per Aah devotional meditation, which is based on teachings from the Temple of Asar in Kemetic. If you were if you partook of the recent Kemetic New Year program, we practice this during that program. So the focus of this panel that we are going to emphasize is related to the divine love, and we term that Sa Ankar divine grace. Also, the divine in the heart, the idea of being nursed and reared by the divine, being a child of the divine, seated in the divine lap, being cared for by the divine, and the divine also enriching us with spiritual strength so that wherever we go, we become the strength that we can share with others. And a recognition of our majestic nature. So we will begin, and we will activate and invoke the deep rhythmic breathing, as our proverb tells us, as our wisdom teaching tells us, our Kemetic teaching tells us to be as the sun and the stars that emanate the life-given essence, give life without asking for anything in return. To be as sun, breathe rhythmically and deeply, then as Ra, the divine creator self, spirit, shall you be. So we're going to breathe through the nostrils and use also what we call belly breathing. We're going to use belly breathing, we're going to use heart breathing. So we're going to start off with belly breathing. Our lungs are not in our belly or heart, but we are going to use the belly breathing because it activates the diaphragm, the breathing muscles properly, and allows us to take a full breath. So sitting with your spine straight. Pull the abdomen into the spine and exhale gently. And then inhale, expanding the abdomen out like a balloon. Exhale, gently pulling the abdomen towards the spine. So put one hand on the chest and one hand on the abdomen. And for this initial warm-up of the proper breathing or belly breathing, we're just going to feel movement primarily in the belly area. So again, as you inhale, you feel the hand that you have there expand out. As you exhale, the hand pulls in gently towards the spine. Inhale, deeply and rhythmically. Exhale. And we're going to breathe as if to the count of 5 seconds. However, just don't get caught up in the counting part of it. Just breathe deeply and rhythmically in according with your capacity. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Just continue a few more breaths on your own just to connect with the breath in the belly and the deep rhythmic breathing. We're not holding the breath. We're just breathing deeply in and out. So this is proper breathing, and it's really how we should be breathing at all times throughout the day. So if it's not your natural breath, then you can set your alarm reminders throughout the day to take a few minutes to check the breath and to connect with the breath and to the proper breathing technique. When you lay on your back, you automatically breathe according to the belly breathing technique because it's a natural breath when we're relaxed. And now moving into the deep 3-part breath. So now we'll feel the hand and the chest also moving a little bit. So we're going to inhale, abdomen, chest, and shoulders. Feel in the whole chest and shoulders raise up a little bit. And then exhale, reverse, releasing the shoulders, chest, abdomen into the spine. Inhale, abdomen, chest, and shoulders. Exhale, releasing shoulders, chest, and abdomen. So we'll do this also for the count of 5 seconds approximately. Again, just for you according to your own comfort level. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 5. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 5. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue a few more breaths on your own. Connect into the deep rhythmic breathing. Now you're feeling the chest expand, the hand moves there as well. That's up. You can release your hands back down and continue the proper breathing or deep rhythmic breathing as we move forward, whichever is easier for you. So today we're going to have the Aset Her Ab, and actually it would be Hert, H-E-R-T, because it's female, Her Ab, meditation. Her Ab or Het Ab relates to the innermost entity and essence within the heart of the royal personality. So the question, and the royal personality relates to the Temple Aspirant or the Temple Initiate. And the question for you is, do you feel yourself to be that royal personality? As an aspirant, you should feel that I am the royal personality. And so these panels where they depict in the royal personality in the role of Heru, at times, like in this panel we're looking at here, where the royal personality is seated on the lap of the goddess and she says that you're my son. So that temple initiate, that spiritual aspirant is that royal personality. And who is Goddess Aset, our divinity of focus? Just briefly, she's the divine mother of Heru. Heru is symbolic of the spiritual aspirant that achieves spiritual victory and attains spiritual enlightenment, guided by Goddess Aset. She's the divine goddess. She's a healer and protector of the soul we call Asar, your soul, my soul, the same soul, and Heru, the royal person, the temple initiate. She is the cosmic principle of intuitional wisdom and non-duality. It allows us to have knowledge of our true transcendental self. So she's her sa'ang, her divine grace that she bestows is very important for spiritual evolution. And so as we will see with this program, this Per Aah, it's a wisdom process where we're going to listen to, reflect, and meditate on the teachings and and not just the teachings in terms of readings. We're going to have a scriptural reading, but teachings in terms of the feelings, of the thoughts, of the integration of the thoughts, integration of the feelings, of the emotions, all of that is considered to be the reflective process, and also the visualizations that we're going to partake of as well. And then with that, we go into a deep meditation. So we may not be able to get that deep into meditation here because of the time, but you can continue the process afterwards. So who is Aset? I said before, she's this, she's all of these things that I just mentioned. And for our process here in our henotheistic religious process of Sheto Neteru, the Egyptian mysteries, the Kemetic mysteries, these gods and goddesses are our own cosmic principles. They're aspects of our own metaphysical being. And so in that respect, you should consider Aset as your divine mother, because the scripture says you are her divine son, child, daughter. She is your protector and your healer of your soul and your spiritual aspiration as she performs these processes in the myths, especially the Assyrian resurrection myth. And she's your intuitional wisdom. She is your capacity to have knowledge and insight and intuition into your transcendental, nebulous, all-encompassing nature. And that's it, spiritual enlightenment. So even though one may feel, oh, I'm not enlightened now, there's an aspect of you that knows you are the divine self, you are nebulous, you are transcendental self, and that Aset holds that knowledge, and she's an aspect of you. So if you identify with her, you have that awareness as well too. You just have to move away what we call impurities, or are you obstructing mental impressions that are blocking that awareness, and we'll see that in a moment. So if I were to ask you to show me a photo of you, of your spiritual aspiration and of your intuitional wisdom, you could very well show me an image of this panel. And that would show me your spiritual aspiration as the royal personality in the role of Heru, sitting in the lap of the goddess of intuitional wisdom, Aset. So as you look upon this panel, you should feel that you're looking at yourself, aspects of yourself. So there's no idolatry here. There's no possessions. This is advanced mystic theurgy, or which involves ritual practice as well. We're engaged in a certain wisdom, meditation, theurgy, and metaphysics. And this is mystic psychospirituality, which is what the Kemetic or ancient Egyptian mysteries are. So we'll have just a couple of opening chants, and we'll do call and response in your own sacred space with your microphone off. You can do the response. So first we'll start out with Ra, even though Ra is not the divinity of today. As we know, Ra is the creator divinity of the Neteru, including goddess Aset in the creation myth that we practiced last week. And Ra, in the form of Nu in the primeval ocean, brings forth all creation out of himself, his own body. So there, through Ra, we also get oneness, an underlying oneness of all creation, of you, of I, of everything. The essence of everything is there's an underlying oneness to the essence of everything. Everything, even though it has different shapes and forms, these keperu, these appearances, it's underlying, there's this oneness. And that underlying oneness is the basis of having ethical conscience, ma'at, this recognition of this universal spiritual reality. And also through Ra, one of Ra's children is Shu, relates to air, space, and breath through what we call Shuaku. And it's an ethereal light of Ra that allows us to have that spiritual vision. And it's like, when we close our eyes, we can still visualize. That's that ethereal light of Ra that has that. And it has a subtle aspect that leads us to experience the oneness of Ra. So as last week, I have a recording here that has a call and response. I will chant with the call, and then you can chant with the response. Netesh Rake EDM Kepara Kepara Kemon Neteru Kake when Ke Aset Mutke Katiam Sutim Neteru. Adorations to Ra as he rises in the horizon eastern of heaven. Homage to Ra, coming forth as Khepera, Khepera, the creator of the gods and the goddesses. Rising thee, shining thee, lighting up thy mother, goddess Nut, the sky, rising as Lord, King of the gods and the goddesses. And then we'll do a chant to the Trinity of Asar, Aset, and Heru. Bastuku, if you're available, are you available to do the response for this one?
Uja Seba Dja, Uja all, ni, Atap.
Okay, do it. Om Asar, Aset, Heru.
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 The one divine self manifesting as the Trinity of the divine Father, Mother, and Child. And Bastuku, if you're on, if you can do the Aset chant.
Uja, Dua. Aset, 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 Aset. Tap.
Atet Dua. So, an important aspect of the Hera meditation is to understand and be ready to receive Sa'ank, which we also refer to as divine grace. So, the abbreviated explanation of Sa'ank is the divine grace, and it is what we receive from the Neteru. And here we're receiving it from Aset and also from Ra, and then through Ra, Aset. So, just briefly again to remember what the Sa'ank it's related to, as Seba has put it forth, that Sa'ank is a divine protective energy consciousness. And it's from ancient times, it appears in the Kemetic scriptures. And this consciousness sustains our conscious awareness as human beings, and it enlivens the personality. And Ra is the repository of this Sa'ank, this divine protective energy consciousness, which we term divine grace. This Sa'ank also makes it possible for us as humans to understand the nature of the divine. So this, of course, is key to be able to attain spiritual enlightenment. This Sa'ank is transmitted to humans directly from Ra. And by discovering our own divine nature that is also connected to Ra, the creator spirit being. And we discussed that in the last Herab. And also, it is transmitted to humans through the Neteru, through the gods and the goddesses. And so here we are focusing on this specific Sa'ang as it comes from Ra and it flows through the cosmic principle that we call Aset or Isis, the Greek. So the head or the Herab, head is male and head is female goddess. Meditation, it purifies the heart. So it has many other benefits as far as its technical practice. The way we're going to perform it with the breath and breathing as if from the heart, it's a heart-based meditation process. And it has been studied and researched, this aspect of breathing as if breathing from the heart, and it has numerous benefits. So just deep breathing itself has numerous benefits as far as bringing relaxation and healing capacity and the best mental health capacity for the personality when the personality is relaxed and at peace. And it helps. And so the particular aspect of the breathing through the heart also has been studied for benefits of the best cognitive balance in the brain. So the heart as if has its own nervous system and as if has its own brain. So we know the gut has its own neural network. So the heart has a very intensive neural network and sends 9 times as messages from the heart to the brain compared to the brain going to the heart. So when the heart is balanced, when the heart is coherent, there's an integration that occurs. And when this integration occurs within the different nervous systems, the heart, the gut, the brain, then that's the best aspect of function of the physical body, of the mind, the best healing aspect. So there are all of these mind body optimal healing capacity, and healing in terms of enlightenment is a healing process. Removing oneself, getting rid of egoism. Egoism is like a disease of the world process. And when we remove egoism, that allows us to experience our true essence. That is spiritual healing, the true spiritual healing. And so this is leading us to have mind, body, spirit, soul healing. So here I have a picture of the what's called the heart or the ab. So we see the image here, the hieroglyph images. The face is like the personality. That's called the head or the head. Here we and then this is the ab, the heart. And so it's not really referring to the physical heart, but yet at the same time, we connect it to the physical heart, right? Our heart is heavy with sorrow. That means like we put things in our heart essence, our innermost heart, that are sorrowful. My heart is joyful. That means like we are connecting our heart to things that are joyful. So there is like a psychological and physiological connection that we have to our heart in relation to the ab, which is related to the unconscious mind in the Kemetic tradition. So what this Temple of Asar, it has all of the different divinities, and it goes through telling us with each one of these divinities is the head ab or the head ab of the royal personality, the temple initiate. So it really impresses that what should be in her heart, like where they live and where they should live is in the heart. That's where we can find them. And if we find them, then all of these principles that they represent will express in our personality. So why doesn't that happen? Well, because we have obstructions and we have what's called RU and these egoistic impressions that also go in our heart, the unconscious mind. So the RU is residual mental impressions of actions and experiences that are stored in the unconscious mind, things that we engaged in, positive or negative, that strongly had created strong feelings and strong thoughts. And so they were so strong that they create like an impression of in the unconscious mind. And so if they're related to egoistic strong feelings and egoistic strong thoughts, especially when they're impure, the impure ones, then that unresolved egoism and that buried egoism and that apep, that chaotic disintegrative energy will block out the experience of the head ab neteru, these cosmic principles that are the essence of who we are. And this is the same ab or heart that we find in the Kemetic judgment scenes. That when your heart is weighed against the Amat or the feather of Ma'at, if the heart is heavy with these egoistic impressions of anger, hatred, greed, attachment, fear, anxiety, insecurity, all of that, then it's not pure, and it will be heavier than the feather, and then you'll have to reincarnate and go through that process. So we're not getting into that, but just to say this is the same idea of how we put these impressions in our heart based on our thoughts and our feelings. And consider that we recycle about 90 to 95% of our thoughts that we have in the course of a day are recycled thoughts from the unconscious mind, just recycled impressions, things that come up, feelings, the emotions that just kind of, come up, and we say, oh, we were triggered. And sometimes we're triggered, not even triggered. Sometimes they come up, but they feel so much a part of us that we just accept them, that this is how we feel and this is how they are. And a lot of them we're unconscious of. So unconscious that most people, like of the 90% that is of that comes up, 70% of it is like negative, not even just to other people, negative to our own selves, how we feel about ourselves and how we criticize ourselves, or how we um, diss ourselves in just very small ways that add up to obstructions of the RU. We're not recognizing our majestic nature. We're not accepting that, and our divine aspect, what's called the Ankh Neter Never, the live-in beautiful divinity that relates, is another term for the royal personality. So we all are this beautiful live-in divinity, and what obstructs us from experiencing that and expressing that are these RU. So that's why we have to work with Ma'at to clean out and cleanse the unrighteous, egoistic ways. And when I say unrighteous, I don't mean like we're always going out and doing bad things to people. Just our thinking process is not in alignment with our deeper spiritual nature. That's bad also. And so we think egoistically and we don't even realize it, because that's how we've been conditioned to do for lifetimes, and certainly in this lifetime. So it's a challenging process, but it occurs. Spiritual evolution occurs in degrees over time. Sometimes there are big spurts or movements. And so here, what I'm trying to show is that this is how our heart should look. We should be able to look clearly and see the Neteru, the Her Ab or Her Ab, in our innermost essence in our hearts. We don't want to just only see RU, and so to such a degree that it blocks out the experience and the vision of our deepest essence as these cosmic principles, which we have to become aligned with. And so this one is showing you the process of purification, an aspirant going through purification. As the RU becomes thinned out, we can start to get some experience of the cosmic principles. And so when we do this meditation today, this will be part of the process as we focus and experience our deeper essence as Goddess Aset. That's going to be destroying some of the RU that are there. It's going to be thinning out the RU load, because some of this RU is related to ignorance, spiritual ignorance, and a degraded notion of ourselves. And so as we are Heru sitting in her lap also, then we are realigning ourselves with our Per Aah nature. And so it's going to destroy that, and we're going to have an experience of that. So that's the goal and purpose of the Per Aah meditation. This is just another depiction that was taken from the 2018 Neteru Conference presentation by Seba Dja. Seba Dja created this conceptual framework, this schematic, to just give us a linear visual of how it would be. This is showing like the RU in the heart, but it's showing like there's different so again, like if I'm looking at my water bottle this way, I'm just going to see what is the first layer. But if I turn sideways, then I can see the different depths of it, different layers. And so it's just a schematic he created, which I very much liked. It gives an idea of how some RU are very light and some RU are like you just accumulated it and it's not a big deal. But some are deeply embedded from lifetimes. And so we'll take a little bit more cleansing process to deal with. But the point is that here is what we call the lower self elements of the personality. I'm not going to go through them. And here we call what we call the higher elements of the personality. You go to that conference and Seba Dja goes through all of that in detail. But what I want you to realize is that the Ab is that aspect of the personality kind of sits between the lower and the higher elements. So you can see that it's going to be an obstruction from being able to really access the higher aspects of the personality, except when we clear these out permanently or temporarily. We clear them out when we do meditation and when we are very much practicing the teachings in an integral way. Then when our mind is attuned towards the divine, they lighten up when the mind, because some of them are due to agitation and dullness. So when the mind shifts, and so that's why we can have glimpses when we go into meditation. So this is where the Neteru resides. This is the Per Aah, and they are the innermost essence in the heart. And if we are able to align those with ourselves, it allows us to experience then the higher aspects of the personality becomes aligned. That's basically what I want you to understand from this. And so we have positive RU and negative RU. So we have positive things that we like, maybe, oh, I love to meditate, and and that is deeply impressed. So that's an RU also. But that's a good RU. And the positive RU are like thinned out. They don't block, like they're a cloud that you can almost see through. They don't block the vision of the Per Aah, Neters, the divine essence. So we want to put in positive, cleanse out negative. And so this today's put in positive as well. So to generate our feeling, some of you came on earlier and you heard the Akua song by Seba Dja. So I'm going to play that to generate the feeling of Goddess Aset. And what I want you to do is to sit back and really engage your deep 3-part breathing. You can look in the screen at the images, hold the images in your mind's eye, and then and just, or you can, the words to the song are here, so you can sing along with the song also. This devotional song to Goddess Aset. So either way, you want to close and meditate and breathe. This is not the practice of the Per Aah. This is just preparing us and getting us to have that uashu, that devotional feeling. Oops. And I may play all of it or just part of it.
Aku, 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 aku. Glory, 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 glory. Anetenetawi, Anetenetawi. Aratia and Hekau, Aratia and Aset, Netrita Aset, Aset, Netrita Aset, Aset, Nehasasa, Aset, Nehasasa. Aset, Muheru, Aset, Sehuheru, Aset, Neteru,
That was Seba Dja singing, and he composed that music as well. So right now I want to take us to a visit to the Temple of Asar, where we can actually see the panel. So this is not the panel, but this is another similar panel I wanted to share. So we see a goddess, and I believe it's Aset, but I can't see. And she's nursing the royal personality. So what is she feeding and nursing him with? The milk of spiritual wisdom, of intuitional wisdom. So these are the scenes that are present here, this very devotional. This is what we call the chapel hallway. And this is the scene that we are going to be focusing on here in the chapel hallway. And just for time's sake, I'm not, I came directly to the scene, but you can see all the scenes are, very devotional, all the panels. So Aset doesn't replace her physical mother, gave birth to us in this time and space. Aset is also the mother of our birth mother as well. Aset is the mother of all. She is the cosmic mother, the mystic mother. And in that sense, she is the true mother. So next I'll have the reading of a trilinear hieroglyphic translation of our focus that we're going to use to anchor ourselves in the heart with Goddess Aset. And so this one is a trilinear translation of the hieroglyph text, and the photo by myself, Dr. Dja, Karen Clarke-Ashby, Seba Dja. And so we saw that it's from the Temple of Asar in that chapel hallway with the royal personalities of child on the lap of Goddess Aset. Let's take a moment to focus on the framed picture and to breathe it in. As you look at it, what feelings are generated in you? As you look at, you can look at the hieroglyphs also, but especially to look at the imagery, the image of Goddess Aset, sitting there, the royal personality child in the form of a child. So, in psychology, I guess they have the inner child. Well, this is the spiritual inner child that is being cared for by Aset, and the stare they have into each other's eyes, and the serpents also on the royal personality, and also connecting with the serpent and the vulture and the headdress of Goddess Aset, and also the serpent on the sun disk, which relates to the raising of the serpent power energy, and the throne, the Simon, the throne, which means union of the Lord and the higher self, unitary consciousness. And we see Aset. Here we see her feathers, right? Because we know she has an avian aspect also, an avian form. And so you see the feathers as they wrap around her legs. Notice the detail. So her outfit is like a feather dress. And especially look at how the hand gently comes up on the chin, under the chin of the royal personality. So when you look at these images, what are you thinking and what are you feeling? So just to be aware of that, to note that within yourself. Not just as a general visitor to the temple, but using all your knowledge and understanding of the teachings. What are you thinking as an aspirant, as an initiate? What are you feeling as an aspirant, as an initiate? Remember that you are both the royal personality, Heru sitting on the lap, and also there's another aspect of you that is Goddess Aset. So we're going to read I'm going to read the columns, the 5 columns translation. The transliteration and the contextual translation. So the first and the third column. Medu Jea Aset Ur Netert Mut Per Aah, the royal personality, En Sa Ze Meri Zi. These words are being spoken by the great goddess Aset, the great goddess, the divine mother Aset, who is the innermost entity and essence in the heart of the royal personality, the temple initiate. So we see here that she is the divine mother in the innermost heart of the royal personality. This is the name of the royal personality of the temple. So this would be your name that would be put in there. She speaks these words to the royal personality, who is her own child and who is beloved by her. So there's this feeling that one should be having also with this panel of being beloved by the goddess, being loved by Goddess Aset, this divine love that we call Mer. And she's the divinity in one's heart, in your heart. Neptawi Rahmat Men, the name of the royal personality, Ent Ke Sa Per. Aset is speaking to the royal person, the initiate, threading the royal path to spiritual victory. Aset says, "You are my child. You're my son. You're my daughter. Heru. You shall go forth as lord or mistress of upper and lower Kemet," meaning you have sovereignty over duality, meaning that you have attained a state of non-duality, of unitary consciousness. NKM Ren N Tu Hekatawi. Aset continues, "I have cared for you and have reared you to be the sovereign over duality. You now have that state of unitary consciousness and are no longer plagued by the duality of limited conscious awareness." Because she herself is intuitional awareness, so that's what she has reared the aspirant to be. Senect en how km en nect erta net pe2. Aset continues, this state of unitary consciousness causes spiritual strength in your body parts, all 9 parts of the personality. This inner strength then projects out to the world so that there is spiritual strength to all the land when you arrive anywhere, wherever you are. So just think about that you're not going to be weak, that, people need help, people need assistance, and you will be that source of spiritual strength just by your very being, just by your very being. So wherever you are, you will carry that spiritual strength with you because it's an inner experience, inner achievement. And this is a panel from the same temple that says, that says, Heru Noob Se Nect Kemet. It says Heru of gold causes spiritual strength in Kemet. And so it gives that same idea of this Heru spiritual aspirant royal personality that basically has this inner strength, this Nect. And wherever he goes, she goes, that is there with them. That's the essence of who they are. And that comes from Aset. Euhem M Suten He Heru Sek and Jetta. Aset continues, it is a majestic achievement of redeeming your Asar nature to experience yourself as the Lord of forever and King of eternity, and to be permanently established and set in place as Heru forever. So this is the majestic you. This is the majestic achievement of redeeming one's soul essence and having that unitary consciousness to discover one's transcendental assets and be set and established permanently in the state of enlightenment. And so that is also what Aset is given in the Sa'ank of her seer and her gentle touch to the royal personality. So now we'll start the Aset heartfelt breathing Herat devotional meditation proper. Focusing on these points of Sa'ang, the divine grace, through the stare, through the touch, through the sitting on the lap and being close to the divine. And see her other hand also is behind the head. She always is concerned with the head of the royal personality because the head symbolizes our conscious awareness aspect. Always very gentle touch with that. And so the Sa'ang, the divine in the heart, the nursing and rearing. So if we're reared by her, she has taught us in those ways that she is, those cosmic principles, and that also gives us our spiritual strength when we know our true self, and that aspect of our being is here and now. So it's not, we don't become majestic when we become enlightened. We are majestic now because we are the divine, and Aset, that aspect of ourselves, is attuned to that here and now. So we'll begin with the process. So we'll go through different phases or stages, and some of the stages will be listening to reflections, and some will be deep visualizations with feeling. And we'll probably spend about 10 minutes or so on 5 or 10 minutes or so on one of the stages for just a deeper reflection meditation process with heartfelt feeling. And then you can also engage the process later on today if you have time on your own as well too. So first we're going to activate the breath with deep rhythmic breathing, no breath holding. We've already done that activation, so now we're just becoming consciously aware of it again. Not counting, but just deep rhythmic breathing. Next, we're going to activate the heart center, and we're going to do that by taking our attention to the heart area on the chest. And we're going to take one hand, either right or left, and you place it over the chest area of the heart center. And take just a few deep breaths there. The hand helps to bring the attention and focus there and anchor it. And you can remove the hand or keep it there, whichever you prefer. And now we're going to activate the heart-based breathing. So we're going to imagine and visualize as if we're breathing from the heart. So as if our deep rhythmic breathing is occurring from the heart. Next, as we know, the Neteru comes from Ra, and Ra is the creator divinity, the creator of all things. We're going to connect to the sense of oneness with all creation, that everything in creation is made up of the same essence, what we call Ra or Noon, the primeval ocean, as we learned in the creation myth. We're just going to allow ourselves to feel a connection and oneness with all creation, with all nature, including the essence of all people, family, and everyone in creation, everything in creation. Let's cultivate that feeling. If there's a feeling of oneness, if you have someone in a relationship and you feel, or a child, and you feel that sense of oneness with them, use that feeling to generate that sense of oneness, and then allow it to flow towards your cosmic principle of the creator spirit, which is the source of the oneness. So you can use regular relationships and situations in life that generate these positive feelings if you find it hard to cultivate it towards the divinity right away. And then when you generate those positive feelings through relationships, you remember in a situation you're happy, or a person that makes you feel joyous, or someone that you're grateful to have in your life, you can use those feelings and then recognize the essence of all those persons and situations is the divine self, is Ra, Noon. And now we are going to connect with the one transcendental consciousness that's even behind Ra, that's behind the creator spirit, that emanates or creates a creator spirit, and that we call Neteru, the transcendental divinity, which is one. So there's only not just oneness of things, there's just one essence, Neteru. So we're still breathing through the heart, feeling as one, just one. No questions in the mind, just feeling as one. And now we're going to refocus on our panel that comes forward through Nebuchadnezzar, through Ra, Noon. Ra creates the Neteru. The Neteru composed aspects of the humans, of the royal personality. So focus on the image, and you can close your eyes after you focus and try to hold it in your mind's eye for a period of time. When it fades, you can open it back up again. You can either close your eyes and focus on the heart-based breathing, or if you want to open your eyes and keep looking at the image on the screen, you may do so also. And you can do a combination of both as well. So continue to breathe as if through the heart, the slow, deep breathing. And you're going to visualize this image on the screen, the image we've been looking at of Aset and Heru, the royal personality, seated on the lap of Goddess Aset. You're going to visualize that in one's heart center. The heart center that you're breathing in and out of, you're going to visualize that image there. With the awareness that you are Aset and you are Heru also. Both aspects are of your metaphysical being. You have an aspect of your being that is the divine grace, and that bestows that divine grace or sa'ang on the other aspect that is your spiritual aspirant nature. That aspect is your Aset aspect, and that aspect knows your true essence. That aspect protects you. That aspect heals you. That aspect is devoted to you. That aspect loves you. That aspect thinks you are majestic. That aspect thinks you are spiritually strong. And that aspect is your own divine mother, your cosmic mother, and loves you 100-fold love of a mother for a child. This is unwavering love. So you have this aspect, this goddess Aset aspect that treats you with great caring and great compassion. Breathing in and out to the heart and holding this image there. Feeling the caring, the compassion, feeling protected, safe, healed, loved, and that you know your true essence as the all-encompassing divinity. You have an aspect of you that is the royal personality, Heru aspect, seated in the lap, and allow this aspect to open her or his heart to receive the sa'ang from Goddess Aset, the principle of intuitional wisdom. Allow this aspect to open his or her heart to receive this divine grace of caring and compassion from the Divine Mother. Feel that one's heart is becoming filled with compassion and caring and love and strength and a majestic nature. There's so much love and caring and compassion that it overflows from your heart. You allow it to extend out to all creation, to family, to all creation, nature, to people, all creation. You're sending out this abundance of caring and compassion to all, and including your own royal personality, Heru self. Also, you are sending your royal personality self, who's received it, is sending it also to your own royal personality self in a capacity of self love, of self compassion, of self caring, of self healing. Deeply focusing on the image again, as the royal personality Heru sitting in the lap of the goddess, staring into her eyes. Accept the Sa'ang, the divine grace blessings of the goddess through that stare. Through the gentle touch of her hands, caressing the chin and the back of the head, through the steadiness of her muscles and her thighs as you sit on them. What do you feel flowing from her heart to yours? Breathing from the heart still, deep rhythmic breathing. Connecting to Goddess Aset as the innermost essence. And again, you can use your spiritual teacher, friend, a parent, a child to help you generate those feelings. All those positive feelings flow from the divine. Allow heartfelt gratitude to flow to her from your heart. So now from your heart to hers in your heartfelt breathing. In gratitude for her sa'ang, her divine blessings, her divine grace, the gifts to you of non-duality, of unitary consciousness to know your true transcendental self and spiritual strength. Allow that gratitude to flow as a gratitude for the teachings, for the blessings of the teachings, for the blessings of all the clergy of Kemet, all the spiritual teachers, preceptors that have facilitated the temple system that allows us to be able to gain this wisdom and partake in the Heartfelt of Goddess Aset. in our day and time, in the here and now. Remember, Aset said, this state of unitary consciousness causes spiritual strength in your body parts and all the 9 parts of the personality. And this strength then projects out to the world so that there is spiritual strength to all the land when you arrive anywhere, wherever you are. Feel that spiritual strength, that you are spiritual strength. Breathe into that with the image still being held. As you sit there, you are spiritual strength. Continue to let gratitude and divine love overflow in your heart, divine feeling overflow in your heart as you look into her eyes and know that you are safely in the hands of your mystic mother, the goddess Aset. Her hands also have the wings in them, so remember you're being also enfolded at the same time in her wings, in protection, in healing, in resurrection, in intuitional wisdom. All these are flowing to you, flowing to your majestic nature. So for a few moments, we'll go deeply into that, those feelings, and the image and the breathing in the heart center. Not just holding the imagery, but actually feel that you are sitting on the lap of your own cosmic principle of intuitional wisdom. You are so close to each other in this caring, loving experience. Aset says to you, absorb it, take it, and receive what she says to you. She says, it is a majestic achievement of redeeming your Asar nature to experience yourself as the Lord of forever and the King of eternity, and be permanently established and set in place as Heru, my child, forever. Looking at the image, holding on to all the feelings. Now, when you leave, if you have time, you can journal your feelings, your thoughts, what you received from her, in addition to what the scripture shared that she gives. And we'll conclude. Do it for joining. Om Hatap, 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 Hatap. Om peace, 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 peace. So do it for joining, and if anyone has time and you want to stay tuned, I will play the Aset visual, the visual of the full Aset Aku song, homage to Goddess Aset, and Seba put that along with someone had created a 360 visual of the Holy of Holies of the Temple of Aset in Aswan. And so Seba put the music to that. So it's quite beautiful. So I will play that, and that can be further devotional alignment to your Goddess Aset cosmic principle. Hatep, peace and blessings, and do it for joining. Next week, I may start a little earlier since it's taking a little longer. I don't know what the scripture will be for next week. Yeah, it probably will be Asar, and it may be one of the panels that Seba did for the Kemetic New Year program. So, if anyone has any questions or comments, also, you're welcome to ask or share or speak. I think you can turn on your mics. Wait one moment while I find that.
Aku, 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 aku. Glory, 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 glory. Aset Aratiyam Hekau, Aratiyam Hekau. Tu Aset Netrita Aset, Tu Aset Netrita Aset, Tu Aset Nehasasa, Tu Aset Nehasasa. Tu Aset Muheru, Tu Aset Sehuheru, Tu Aset Neteru Aku, Aset. Neteru, Aset, Neteru, Aset. Aku, Adet, Netrita. Aku, aku.
Tap tap.